60 seconds.
You're logging in?
If you have audio feedback, we're gonna.
I shut off the speakers and
Yes,
my,
so did I once, and it didn't matter. I muted everything on my entire computer and it started.
Yes, so yeah.
all right, hold on.
So you can ask that,
Well,
Here we go.
And Zoom does weird things on tablets. I have no idea why.
Right,
Feedback.
Go fix it though.
I don't,
Oh, you logged off? Oh, no, you're still there.
no, I just shut off the speaker.
All right. Calling to Board of Selectmen regular meeting. May 5th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. You'd all join me in the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I hear a motion to approve the minutes of April 7th, 2025.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of April 7th, 2025.
Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
Any discussion?
Yeah, can we change debt limit to debt policy on, right here?
Yes. Page 1,
Yeah, just noted.
about the 3rd or 4th paragraph.
Right, it's not a debt limit, it's a debt policy for the town. That's it.
All right. All those in favor as amended? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passed unanimously. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of April 14th,
I
2025?
make the motion that we approve the minutes, especially of the Board of Selectmen special meeting minutes of April 14th, 2025.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Do I hear, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Present to speak, public participation is encouraged. Speakers are limited by appropriateness, staying on topic and maintaining decorum. Time may be limited to maintain progress. Please request to reserve time during the meeting if you wish to speak to a specific agenda item. Is there anybody here present to speak? Ralph?
I just want to reserve time for item 10B.
NB. So reserved. Anybody online?
This is Kathy.
Yeah, go ahead, Kathy. I'll get right back to you, Bruce. Kathy,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Hi, Kathy Demers, Wellington Conservation Commission. First of all, I just wanted to thank Department of Public Works for the excellent job that they did of doing the remediation work over at the new Petix Sanctuary that is part of Fenton Ruby Park. And also, they put a lot of work into clearing up the vegetation off the dams, as well as clearing a lot of the invasive plants that were on the property and taking down the old camp. So we want to thank them for all the work they did. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. And we don't have it on the agenda tonight because I don't think we've finished the wording, but we need to get that certificate naming that Petix property. So if you could work with my office and we can get that done.
Okay, very good. Yep.
Bruce.
Sure. Bruce Lawler, 48 Wellington Road, Wellington, Connecticut. Might just like to make a couple of comments regarding the annual town meeting, which was conducted a couple of weeks ago. Mostly about the voting that took place and the integrity of the whole process. So it seems to me that if we're coming out to vote on an issue such as putting the budget forward for referendum, that it would be nice if in the future we could have a process where, one, IDs are checked coming into the building because people are voting on this issue. And on top of that, if paper ballots could be used as well. I mean, we were quite fortunate that there were only 30 people, give or take, that came. So as far as the voting went, it was somewhat chaotic. When it came time to putting the budget forward, I believe 3 different votes were taken because they could not have an accurate count conducted. And then when it came time to the CIP, the same thing, there were 3 votes that were done. The final vote came to 13-12, and I don't know who made the motion for that 3rd vote, who seconded it and why it was done. But the second count, it was accepted, and then somebody else walked in off the street, and then a 3rd count was called for. And then it ended up passing by 1 vote. So I just think for, as far as the integrity of the whole process goes, that you consider checking IDs at the door and using paper ballots in the future, and that it would make things a lot more trustworthy.
If I could speak to that for just one moment.
Yeah.
I know we're not supposed to be holding a conversation here, but this is a town citizen thing at town meeting. And at any time during a vote, a town member can ask for paper ballots. That's when paper ballots kick in. So you ask for paper ballots, you need a second and a majority vote, and then that item will be voted by paper ballot. Secondly, the first item isn't voted on because it automatically moves to referendum. Go ahead, Ralph.
Okay. The vote for budget in the town of Wellington is open to Wellington registered voters and Wellington
Property owner.
property owners.
Yes.
How do you know who came through that door, is a property owner in Wellington, or is a registered voter in Wellington? You don't.
Yeah.
If you don't check IDs. And if someone had made a motion for a paper ballot that night,
Right,
it would have been chaos. Because nobody was prepared for that.
correct. But it could still be asked. And we would have prepared paper ballots and we would have had to figure it out.
I understand.
Chaos or not, we have a fairly chaotic government as it is, we can figure it out. We will survive.
Oh, I no doubt.
Nick?
Hey, Nick Tella, Myrtle Road, Wellington. Three items that I had here. Well, two. Well, one just came up here. Paper vote. I have to agree with that. I've seen in the past people change their votes because when you're voting in the public setting, we've seen people literally been shouted out and talked down to in those meetings because of how they voted. To keep an anonymous vote and not to really scare anybody which way, I think the paper vote should be the way to go because we've seen how it is in the past. I was talking to somebody about the pickleball court, whatever it's called over there at the River Road, and
We're
somebody
on-
was saying, I'm sorry.
We're on a different topic now? I'm
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
you gotta give me a pause between topics, so my brain can.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
No, that's cool. Yeah, so my second topic here is the pickleball court. I was talking to somebody in town and they were saying how it's actually gone over budget. And I know when it was first proposed to us, the contractors were already on site. It's going to be much cheaper, even lower than we expected because the workers are there. And then all of a sudden I heard recently that it actually went over budget. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I'd like to see if any of you can speak on that behalf. And then thirdly, um, you know, I know we're not Stafford, but Stafford voted their budget down twice. The second time around, they basically came with a small decrease, and it still got voted down. Which I hope that we're kind of noticing what's going on there. And when this vote gets, knock on wood, voted down a referendum, I think the town needs to really take a strong look, and I hope the Board of Finance can stay strong and say, no, we're going to actually be fiscally conservative and make cuts at the town level and at the educational level. So, thank you.
All right, as far as the pickleball court, that's the first I've heard of anything like that, so I will look into it. Yeah, you give me a chance to write a note and then. I can pay attention. Go ahead, Pete.
Peter Tinchich, 97 Trask Road. I agree with the previous comments about the voting process, and I would comment that I recall it coming up before, prior to this administration, and the registrar is saying to us that if we are to have a paper ballot at a town meeting, the meeting has to be warned as such. And I don't know if that's correct or not, but
I don't believe that is because
throwing into the soup.
personally, prior to my becoming first selectman, I called for a paper ballot when it wasn't on the call and it was a paper ballot.
And I seem to remember going both ways on other occasions, when we called for it, we were told, well, it wasn't warned that way, so it'd be good to find out. But my larger concern is, the town meeting is very important, that, we need to understand what's happening at that meeting. And no one is more fond of that old town hall than me. But it is extremely hard to function in that building. We have no Wi-Fi or access to the internet, which means we can't have that screen and look at our own budget in our town budget meeting. And I strongly ask the Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen, I'm sorry, to consider moving that meeting, whether it's the town budget meeting or the public hearing, same situation. We have no idea what's going on. It's hard to hear in there. There's no visual aids of any kind, people wandering in and out. Could we have that meeting, say, in the library community room? Where we can have all of those things.
It's a suggestion, we will take it under advisement. My only feeling is we've done it for almost 300 years without visual aids, but. We can move, we can modernize. John Blessington.
John Blessington, 29 Mason Road. If I remember correctly, the old town hall is deeded to the town for use as a town hall as long as the town meeting is held there. So moving it out would create a
legal problem.
A legal problem as well.
Okay, I will take that under advisement as well. Anybody else in the room? Anybody else online? Shannon.
For those who don't know me, I'm the administrative assistant to the first selectman. I wanted to take a minute to express my apologies not only to the Board of Selectmen, but also the residents of the town. For the April 7th meeting, I think it was 14th meeting. I prepared the agenda for the special Board of Selectmen meeting. I had it received in by the town clerk in a timely manner, and it was posted on the bulletin board at the town office building. However, illness and my lack of attention to detail caused the agenda not to be posted on the website, and that was my error, not that of the first selectman or the board. I assure you that the posting of the video and meeting minutes were not an attempt to cover anything up, and there was no malfeasance intended. It was simply an oversight that will not happen again. I assure you that going forward, things will be posted in a timely manner, and I hope you'll accept my apology and we can move on for this. Thank you.
Any additional comments? Hearing none, I'd like to suggest that we add in an agenda item 10D, Benton River Basin. Anything else anybody's got?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion, to add item.
Oh, wait, I gotta have a second then.
Oh, sorry.
Well, do I have a second? I'll
Yeah.
second.
Yeah,
All right.
sorry.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye, all right, go ahead.
I jumped the gun. Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we add Central Corridor Passenger Rail Coalition, Inc. under item E
Okay,
to new business. This is a carryover from the prior.
second that, yes. Any discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
That is also unanimous. All right, so. My copy of that has disappeared.
It's in there. It's in
Wait a
the-
minute,
towards the
wait a
back.
minute.
You have the original right there.
I have the envelope for it.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I took the original out to send it to John T.
You can use mine.
I put it back in there. No? I thought it was attached to the envelope.
No, the envelope's just floating around.
No,
by
I
itself.
thought I put it back in there.
You put the envelope back in.
Well,
That's very nice.
all right, well, the guys
We
have
have
one.
the guys have one, we'll discuss it when it comes up.
Mhm.
So. Having no correspondence, state police report. We don't have a state police report. The state police's computer crashed, they've lost all their data and all their ability to report. So they will be rebuilding that and we will get a state police report when state police do their thing.
Good time for a crime spree.
They will still catch you, they just won't tell anybody about it for a while. It'd be a bad time to be caught, because if they're not telling anybody, then you're not going anywhere. Public Works report. I think we had two, or do we only have one? I think we only have one.
I took the other one out.
Okay, so they've completed the road sweeping. They continuing to grade the gravel roads, weather permitting. Therefore, not this week. Repairs and maintenance for vehicles and equipment, they've been cleaning up around the garage and repairing potholes. They did a fantastic job cleaning the Burma Road property, which is now part of the Fenton Ruby Park, to which Kathy spoke earlier. They took a lot of stuff out of there, and it looks very nice.
That the one we were talking about where they had the breakdown in camp and.
Yes.
Capel Well, don't they have the Capel Well up there?
Yes, they already did that, I believe they filled it in. And they fixed the road enough they could get heavy equipment in and out, and they removed a lot of trash and two buildings.
Two buildings, they removed buildings,
Yeah,
like cabins and stuff.
yeah, it was about the size of 3 tables put together, it wasn't that big.
Okay,
Both of them fit in one dumpster.
okay.
Looking at the pictures, they look real big, then I went there and looked in person, they were not big. Tiny homes. They put out the vote signs around town. They graded and installed fresh millings at the River Road Park. They helped Parks and Rec to install dog bag dispensers. Says dog poop dispensers for poop bag dispensers, but I don't know how to put that, so I'll.
You
just do
can't.
that. I caved.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Every dog owner knows what you.
Yeah. And they hung some signs for Health and Human Services. They have a Department of Public Works sponsored community cleanup day has been rescheduled for Sunday, June 8th. It should be on the DPW website soon, and as soon as it's there, it'll be on the town Facebook page. The staff is volunteering and supplies are funded by the Connecticut Nickel per Nips program. So if young people who would like to help clean up town, I strongly urge you to participate. Tax refunds. I would like to move that we refund, $680.38 to Bernhan Mirza for refund of excess payments.
I'll second.
And
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
I,
I move that we refund Miriam Khanam in the amount of $179.76 for excessive payments.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. I move that we refund James Evans Jr. the amount of $404.75 for excessive payments.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Both sides are blank. What's going on? I move that we refund Donna Barberi the amount of $2,602.08 for excess payments.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. I move that we refund Bruce ceramic cone $20 for excess payments.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. I move that we refund the amount of $124.38 to Janice Bolsteridge for excessive payments.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I move that we refund Ryan Alvarez $120.34 for excess payments.
I second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
I move that we refund Alan Alvarez the amount of $393.85 for excessive payments.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I move that we refund Ryan Allard the amount of $579.41 for excessive payments.
I second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. There we go. We're on to the first selectman status report. As I'm sure everybody in this room and online is aware, tomorrow is the referendum on the budget. We had on the 6 exterior doors of this building, we had 6 different locks with 6 different keys and no key control. So I have directed Public Works to have all the locks changed and keyed the same. And now access is by fob only. So if anybody in town has keys they'd like to return or collecting them for their scrap value. The back door has been fixed so it can lock open for the human services people to help the people coming to the food pantry. We're in the process of the contract for the cleaning services coming up expiring, so we were in the process of opening bids for that. The carpets upstairs haven't been cleaned for several years, so we're seeing if we can afford to have that done.
I got the numbers for that today.
Oh, okay,
For this building, it was like 1,200.
we don't have money for that,
No,
okay. Pretty much other than now that the town meeting has concluded its business, things have been relatively quiet around here. So that concludes my first selectman status report. Item 10A under new business, bank bid results for the ambulance lease. They put out, there was 4 people that were requested to bid. 3 bid, 1 did not. This is the bid results for financing for ambulance module remount. This is from Donna. She sent out an RFP to direct solicitation financing of $360,000 for 7 years. For the Wellington Fire Department 1 ambulance module remount. The lease payments are budgeted to be made semi-annually from Fund 17. The Emergency Services Reserve Fund. Fund 17 is funded by ambulance receipts. So if you ride on the ambulance, the insurance company pays into Fund 17 so they can maintain their equipment. $300,000 was approved by for the purchase of a new ambulance in year 1 FY 22-23 of the CIP plan at the annual town meeting on April 19th, 2022, when the 22-23 through 26-27 plan was approved. At a town meeting on December 17th, 2024, an additional $60,000 was approved and the module remount was approved instead of purchasing a new ambulance. Financing proposals were due today and the interest rates that we received are municipal lease consultants 4.77%, American Capital 4.739%, Flagstar Public Funding Corporation 4.1%, Cogent Bank did not bid. Donna has submitted the following suggested motion, which I will make. I move to award the 7-year lease in the amount of $360,000 for tax exempt lease purchase financing to Flagstar Public Funding Corporation for 4.1%. 10%. 4.1%. Would you like to look at the numbers?
We're approving the amount, right, and the rate.
Mm-hmm.
So
So we're approving the lender at that amount and that rate.
okay, and
And we're not approving it, the town meeting has already approved it, we just need to find
right,
the lease now.
I understand. And so the legal people will look at this and tell us whether or not everything's copacetic.
It's already been looked at, all we have to do is, we have to award the bid.
I'll second the motion.
All right.
Yeah.
Any other discussion?
And that is the lowest, right?
Yes,
Sites are
yes.
the lowest.
It's
And
by,
they're an accredited lender, they're
the paper is here. That's, yeah,
I'm sure Donna looked at it, and I
Yep.
trust her judgment, I'm not questioning that. Asking the question. All right, so they're a public funder, they're Maryland. Do they show any of their, are they rated by Moody's or any of those files? Well, no, they must be. I'm sure Donna would recommend it if they weren't.
I am with you on that.
Trust in their.
Just trusting your girl.
Very good,
All right, any other discussion?
like fairly good rates.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. You hand that to them.
I can.
With those other files, that all goes back to the same office. Discussion on phased implementation for reevaluation. Matt, I believe you asked for this to be added to was it you that asked this to be added to the agenda?
I don't know, I may have.
I think you did, that's why it's on here.
Oh, so there's been a suggestion that we move from immediate year 1 implementation of the entire revaluation that happened this year. Wellington received a 1-year grace period and was 1 year late in conducting our revaluation. It's been completed this year. There were substantial changes in how the tax is apportioned. So, we had residential prices go, or values go up. We had commercial values go up, but less. Instead of, trying to implement, the revaluation of properties in Wellington all at once in 1 year, the suggestion has been made that we could potentially, phase this in over 4 years. So because we, received the 1 year grace, we would have to implement within 4, so that's 1/4 of the revaluation would happen in year, 1, and then 2 and 3 and 4. This would mean that we would gradually make the change rather than making it all at once. I think it's a way that we can try to, soften the impact of the revaluation on taxpayers. I want to make clear that, this does not mean, that, we would decrease the amount that we collect in taxes. The amount we collect in taxes from all taxpayers will be identical. It's the same. Just simply that we'll be doing the revaluation would be phased in over 4 years. In essence, what that would mean is that the residential people will not see a huge increase right away in their property values. And the commercial people will not see, a huge increase either. So it'll happen gradually. I think it's a pretty good strategy. I think it would help, the shock of a revaluation. I wanted to bring it up for discussion and see what you guys thought of it. I guess it was mainly a thing for, I guess, for the board of finance or.
Yeah. Or Ralph asked to speak to this during public speaking, so Ralph.
It was also brought up at the town meeting, I believe.
Are you ready?
Yes. As long as I get out of here before I fall asleep,
I'm not gonna try and prolong this, okay. Ralph Tillis, 47 Village Hill Road. I don't know if this was been shared with everyone. This is OPM's analysis of the statute that allows us,
The highlighted part, Mr. Phillips?
well, the whole document
The whole document.
is really relevant. And given that we have 4 years before the next reval, we would take the difference between the previous assessed value and the new assessed value and apply 25% this year. If the budget does not pass, we have the opportunity to implement this. I don't know what happens if the budget does pass. That takes a better brain than I've got. But the concept is 25% of the difference gets added. The effect is the mill rate goes higher. If you hold the budget numbers the same, your budgeted expenditures, all it does is increase the mill rate. It does not affect what's going to get billed. The interesting effect is what happens with some of the commercial accounts. I did an analysis of FedEx. And we would actually collect more from FedEx in the first 3 years than we would otherwise. They would see one jump that's relatively minuscule, but overall, they're going to pay about the same. This is a breakdown of how it all works. Sorry, and take care of the top guy first.
Should be. That's fine.
And I can explain this, or I can put it up on the screen if you want.
why don't you put it up on the screen for those online?
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think you may have to put him in as a. Oh. Are you okay?
I'm fine.
No.
They made you guys blurry.
He
You left part of
would
your
have
head
wiped
on
the
the
bottom of
pen.
the.
What, so
A little bit.
better?
No, we'll figure it out later.
Okay.
We're all good.
Yeah,
He needs to see
Oh, yeah, I
that
see it
well
here.
anyways.
yeah, they could see who we are.
You're good, me, you're good.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, Shannon. Did you,
Can I share a
You
screen?
had to add Ralph in as a host, I believe. Oh, right there.
No, won't let me.
Make host. Oh. Wait.
Okay,
You're the host now,
yeah,
so go down.
all right, here we go. Let me see if I can find the right screen.
After all this, I hope so. Net pressure, so. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I know.
Go. Their screen. Nope. Anyway,
If you go down to the bottom,
yeah,
does it say share?
I did. And then a window pops up. Choose what to share. Chrome tab, window, or entire screen.
Well, let's see what you have on your entire screen.
And the only screen that it shows me I could share is this.
Huh.
Zoom.
Huh. All right, well,
Anyway,
in the interest of moving along, let's,
yeah, all right, we'll cancel all of this. I'm sorry.
that's all right,
I should have practiced this.
yep. We will get you next time.
Um,
We assume that you will have something to share in the future.
the bottom line, if you follow along on this. On the right side, at the top, it shows possible incremental phase-in of redevelopments. There's 4 sections. For 25, 26, 26, 27, it's up for 4 years, up to 28, 29. I've held the budgeted expenditures constant over those 4 years. I have held anticipated revenues constant, matching the current proposed budget.
Revenues meaning,
Revenues other than
right,
monies to be raised by taxation.
right, all the other revenues.
Correct, all the other revenues. There is a capability in this spreadsheet to plug in an inflation amount for each year if you want to see what might happen if inflation increases the budget by 1%, 2%, whatever.
Okay,
You can do individual inflation amounts for each year. What it does for the median homeowner, they have an assessment of 140, roughly 148. That's down the bottom, across the bottom. The top one, sample residential property tax for a median home. Their assessment goes from 147 to 760 to 213,910.
sorry, Ralph, where are you on that?
Bottom of the sheet, there's four
Yeah, I see-
sections
I
across
see
the
those.
bottom,
Yeah,
the top one.
okay,
The difference in their assessment is 66,150. Their tax jump, if this budget passes, would be $701. If,
oh, I see.
then you move over to the right side. Under the phase-in, 25, 26 phase-in,
Yeah,
their tax in the initial year would jump $454. And then it would increase
another 90.
as you move through the next 3 fiscal years.
You did this equally, 25%?
25. 25 equally across the board for the three fiscal year or 4 fiscal years. For the average taxpayer, the average of the 1,912 homes, it's a little bit higher. Their jump, the average would be $1,600 if the budget goes without this.
Mhm.
And if we were to adopt this, we'd only jump 1,020
And then 12.
in the first year.
And then another.
And then it would increment up by 25% each subsequent year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I did an average of the top 15 increases. Average assessment went from 306,000 to 597,000. Or a jump of almost 300,000. Which results in the first year tax increase as things stand. $5,550. if you were to implement this policy, that first year increment would be 2,216. And then
Yeah.
over the original, it would go up to 3,475 until you work back to that number. You'll see the final 28, 29 fiscal year. You're back to where it would have been if we just went with the budget as is.
Yeah.
And you get right above that, you can see the mill rates as you move across. If we implement this first year, the mill rate would be 33.24. And of course, we have the cap on motor vehicles at 32.46, and I factored that in there as well.
Okay.
Now, FedEx was the interesting one. Because their total taxes actually kind of go down over the years. Not really. Their increases are much less substantial than residential property owners. The beauty of it is, I think for commercial, because we're working with a higher mill rate, they're getting something close to where they are now in the first year.
Their benefit is delayed.
Correct. But I think it benefits the town of Wellington.
And the residents of Wellington. And they would still be getting their tax break over time, or not tax break.
They will work into their new assessment for
Right.
sure. But
Right.
their assessment only went up, we went from 17.5 million to 22.3. Which in relative terms, that's not a significant increase,
Right.
not compared to some of the homes. I think it's worth serious consideration, and I don't think it's complicated to implement. Perhaps Kara could speak to that. I don't know how it complicates her job. She's been very helpful in digging out some of the data to do this analysis.
Mhm.
There's no guarantee though that the mill rate next year would be what's on this paper.
There
No,
never is.
Right, that's what I mean.
There never
These are
is.
doing stages, some of them now, so. Yeah.
Well, as for any budget, be it your own at home or be it for government,
Right,
you're assuming what your expenditures are going to increase to. And hopefully you stay under that.
Mm.
You're hoping that your revenues are gonna
Right.
stay the same or hopefully increase. In our case, from the previous fiscal year, our revenues outside of taxation went down
And not that much, but they did go down.
enough to affect the budget.
Like 2.5%.
Anyway, yeah, we went down almost 21,000 in revenue.
Right.
I think it's viable. The one thing you cannot do is if an assessment decreased, you have to implement 100% of it year one. You cannot moderate an assessment that went down. And I think for the folks that have questionable foundations, they may they benefit already by having their house pretty off the tax rolls.
Well, they still have to deal with the foundation is.
Yeah, until that foundation is replaced, they don't go back to full value. So I doubt that they'll benefit from this, but I don't think it's gonna hurt them either.
All right,
I think it's a worthwhile thing to,
I think that we should take this under advisement, try to figure out how we feel about it. With a little thought. And we should reference all of this to the Board of Finance at their next meeting as well.
it does, I don't think it hurts us financially in any way.
All right. I don't think as a town, it doesn't.
I think the people that are really gonna get hurt are those that live in apartments.
Yeah.
Because apartments really went up in value.
Huge.
And to whack the landlord with this kind of a tax increase in year one is going to burn the tenants over time.
They're gonna see, they would see a
The
large,
rents are gonna go.
yeah.
Pete, you first.
Peter Littleton, 97 Trask Road. I want to thank Ralph Brady as the Board of Selectmen. I think it's a very worthwhile endeavor to help all our residents. I don't know anyone could be opposed to that. And I believe that this has been done in the past by Wellington years ago in assessments. And it might be worthwhile understanding how that was done and doing it again to help everyone. Thank you.
Stephanie?
Hi, Steph Summers, 4Y Road. I just wondered, is Kara still on the call? Yeah, she is. Could we hear her analysis of how this would work from her point of view, and also about what Ralph alluded to earlier on the labor involved or whatever's involved in making a change like this? Since she's here, I wasn't sure she might be not unable to come to other meetings in the future, and it'd be great to hear her opinion on this.
All right, Kara?
Hear me?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a lot of time to research this, so sure what I have to do administratively with everything. I know it's you so phase in if you wanted to, just throwing that out there. But I'd be happy to talk with you
Okay,
more in depth, but I just haven't really, other than I looked at the actually how it works computerized with everything that we do.
yeah. All right, thanks, Kara. Yeah, the sound was not great, but thank you, Kara. Bruce?
Bruce Lawler, 48 River Road, Wellington. You know, one advantage I see of it, you know, one thing people tell me is they're having a hard time maintaining their houses. So if people are paying this incrementally, they've got more money to be able to maintain their houses, so that in 5 years, when we come up with a new reval, their houses are in total disrepair. They've got maybe paint on their houses, so their houses present better. And I think, you know, down the road, it will benefit the town as well as far as revenue they'll need in the future.
Okay. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you, everybody. We will take this under advisement and see where pluses and minuses are and, so.
Is Gareth still upstairs?
I don't know. Probably not. It could be.
I'm glad I heard after this.
So the new budget should have passed tomorrow, has a assistant recreation director in it. I've got the job description here. We would have to form a committee to hire one. I think we should put this off until the next meeting to see how the budget goes.
That sounds like wise counsel.
And then we will form a committee. I was wondering if, when the time came, whether either one of you gentlemen would be interested if we needed somebody to fill that position.
I can do it. Yeah, like, you know, we had good candidates for the rec director.
Yeah.
And maybe some of those will be willing to come back as assistants.
Yeah, 10 hours a week, whatever, what is it, 10 hours a week?
10 hours a week.
Yeah, 10 hours a week,
You never know. There was some.
you never know. Anyways, so,
I'd be willing to,
all right,
be part of that if needed.
yeah, I was thinking you and maybe Joe Colangelo and then Rachel, because Rachel's person would be working.
Yes,
So, and I've sat in on the last.
Because I have more free time than you have, so.
Yeah.
I have a bit more free time than you, but,
Okay.
you can do it, you're.
Let's table that for 2 weeks. Fenton River Basin, I don't have all the information at my fingertips because I didn't print out my email. There's been a Fenton Fenton River Basin, committee that's, do you wanna, Kathy, do you wanna explain this?
Yeah, I'll explain it. So the Eastern Connecticut Conservation District, which oversees the Natchog River Basin, the Fenton River is part of the Natchog River Basin. So they have been working on a plan for several years, along with Connecticut Deep and the towns of Ashford, Chaplin, Eastford, Mansfield, Union, Wellington, Wyndham, and Woodstock, which are all in the watershed. They're working together to protect the Natchog River quality. And what they'd like to do is get all the towns to sign a memorandum of understanding to basically develop a framework of cooperation between the parties for the purpose of collaborating to implement the recommendations that are set forth in the Natchog Healthy Watershed Protection Plan. And that was devised by Eastern Connecticut Conservation District and DEEP. They had come up with this during 2020, during COVID. And it's a very lengthy document, but basically what it says that the towns will work together to do things that protect the watershed. And they'd like all of the towns to sign this memorandum of understanding. And basically what it asks the town to do is to designate at least one town staff person or a town commission volunteer to provide in-kind match by attending the advisory board meetings on behalf of the town. That's really the big ask with this MOU. So that's basically what it's about.
And what I would like to do is nominate Kathy for that position. She's already been representing us. And Kathy, if you could give me a hard copy of that MOU, I went through the email and I didn't see the link, but probably me instead of the link that's at fault there. So if you could give me a hard copy of that MOU, then we will distribute it and take it up at the next meeting for signing.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And
Kathy, are you willing to do it?
don't ask her that, she can back out.
It's a fair ask.
What, I'm sorry, what was that?
Are you willing to be the representative?
Oh, yes, and I had mentioned that to Peter as well. You know, I've been going to other meetings for this particular
No,
project, so I'm happy to do it as chair of the Conservation Commission.
I've been volunteering
Thank you.
for several things.
Kathy, can you just send that to me, please?
Yep, will do.
He's just gonna ask me to do it anyway.
Okay, and then the central. Here it is, the Central Corridor Passenger Rail Coalition.
Yes.
The Central Corridor Passenger Rail Coalition, Inc. of Palmer, Mass. has sent me a letter. For the return of asking us to support the return. Support them in their effort to return passenger rail service between Brattleboro, Vermont and New London, Connecticut. And that's for the rail line that runs down the western line of town between us and everybody else.
So they have an issue, this, well, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The group has been in existence for quite a while, and they're moving forward with the advocacy for passenger rail service, as Pete said, between Brattleboro and New London. And they're asking for us to renew our support for the coalition and passenger rail moving through our town and all the other towns in here. And also that there's an issue with where to place a station, and they're asking for our support of them in their advocacy to have that station placed in a place that's beneficial. So, and this group would like to see. I apologize, I'm not from Massachusetts. I didn't highlight it on here. So we took this up at the Economic Development Commission meeting that we recently had, and we were excited by the opportunity this presents, both in terms of passenger rail service through and all the benefits for that, and also the potential for passenger rail service stopping in Wellington. So, right now, there would be, you know, we don't know, I mean, we don't know, so, they're placing, up in Massachusetts, they want to place this in a certain area, we want the station to be in a certain area. I'm sure that other towns around us would also be very interested in having a station in their area. So we will see, we will be advocating on that behalf. Bill Rankin, who's a member of the Economic Development Commission and a former member of the Board of Finance, is attending this, has agreed to attend this meeting. And he'll be reporting back to the EDC on what transpired and what everybody says.
So the reason that there's been a renewed interest in this is that, the federal government is, thinking about working with Mass DOT to, put in a new rail line going from Boston to New York by following I-90 from Boston to, Springfield and then dropping down through, following the Connecticut River down to the shore. And so that what they do is they put a station directly north of us at the T, so that you could, if you got passenger rail from here to the intersection, you could go to either Boston or New York or Brattleboro. Or from any one of those places to Willington, Connecticut. So.
When they say support, does that have dollar signs attached to it?
I
Is it
don't
just a-
believe there's dollar signs.
Advocacy.
Okay, that's fine, yes, I'm a big
That was
fan.
that was a good question.
I'm a big fan of light rail,
Yeah,
be fun to see a whistle stop in West Wellington.
and we do have a fair amount of freight rails going through town already.
Yeah.
And we missed out on the lumber yard they want to put in that's now in Southwind.
There's some things to look at.
All right, so. I believe that I need a motion to support the resolution.
I'll make a motion to support the resolution.
I second.
Any more discussion? Hearing none? All those
I'd
in-
like to make a comment.
Sure,
Am I open to?
sure.
All right, I lived in this state for 65 years and we used to have viable train lines throughout the whole state for transportation for
Mhm.
people. We've seen them ripped up over the years and turned into trails.
Yeah,
So it's almost like a fad type thing. So I'm wondering if we go ahead with something like this and they actually propose this, put money out for it. In 30 years, we're gonna be pulling up those train trails.
I don't think so, because the tracks are already in and have been in for many years.
So they're gonna
And
use the
they're-
invest.
They're gonna use
existing ones
the
that
as is
through
built
already.
rails, yes. I think that what they do is they just wanna add passenger trains to the current freight rails. And we already have a station down there on the rails, but I think it's a jewelry shop or something.
now. Used to be a jewelry.
Used to be a jewelry shop.
It's a meeting room for Synaxo.
A what?
It's a meeting. room. Synaxo is the company behind Flat Pennies.
Yes. Well, I thought it was just parking for flat penny, but what do I know? Anyways,
It is on the weekends.
yeah. So, all those in favor? I will sign the paper and return it to them for the, you can put that on that stack.
Stephanie Racer.
Oh,
We're missing
Oh.
lunch.
Stephanie, did I miss you on the discussion on that?
I would, yeah, I'm just really interested in it and have been for a while. Just, to Bruce's point and everything, it's the New England Central line. It's pretty much here to stay. And obviously and I'm sure Matt knows this, he's nodding, but the connection to Brattleboro, but also, New London's been somewhat untended, so it kind of connects the dots in a smart way. There's good ways to get, you can get from Amtrak down to New York from that spot you were talking about in Springfield, but you can't really do too much else in the state as far as using rail for regularity or travel. So that line along 32 has got a lot of activity on it, and something that I know Bill Rankin, who has quite a background in railroad transportation, or really more railroad moving of product. he, I know he feels the same way because this is a line that's, one of those 7 that used to go through Palmer, Mass. And it's a big deal. And hey, I think there's a place that passengers could even get a little bite real quick right there, right? It's
Well,
kind of a cool thing for all those train station related, generations of track 9 and flat pennies, I think. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents.
in terms of economic development, the big thing for Wilmington would, in comparison to a Yukon site for the stop or a Stafford site for the stop, is our proximity to 84. So you can do the intermodal thing much easier if it was located in Wellington, and that's our major calling card. So anyway,
I think you're right. It's exciting.
yeah, it's exciting. Ralph's hard to say.
Yeah, just a comment. The Montrealer used to run through here, used to be able to pick it up in Willimantic and get to Montreal.
Really?
That was a long time ago.
That was because when I took it, you had to go up to, I had to go up to Springfield. But what a ride that is. That's gorgeous and really fun and a very popular line at one point. So who knows?
Yes. So moving on to old business, Emergency Services Facilities Building Committee.
Well, no, nothing to report.
Okay, do we have a time frame for that,
I have
still
been,
consultant?
I haven't reached out to the consultant recently. I will do so.
No, I
Get back to us.
he'll get back to us. I found him very professional. I expected that's not gonna change. I'm sure as soon as he has the information, he'll give it to us. Thank you. Good and welfare? Are you good?
We just want to say that Public Works is doing a great job on Daleville Road. Looks very well,
Good and well,
very well graded.
All right,
good and welfare. We have a referendum coming up. Encourage everyone to vote tomorrow in the referendum. I made my, viewpoint known. I'll be voting against the referendum, voting no. It's not really political. It's just, I don't believe that kind of increase is right for Wilmington taxpayers. So hopefully we'll be able to send it back with lots of good volunteers on our Board of Finance. I'm sure they can work, continue working to get something that's a little more appropriate for where people are right now.
okay. Anything from you?
No,
Doesn't speak.
I'm okay, so I must be good. Who brings us back to present to speak? Same rules as before. Anybody that needs to speak? Nick?
Nick Tella, Myrtle Road. So first, just want to say kudos to Shannon for taking ownership earlier. So, also going into, I know EDC and Strategy 5, they've been working on what they're working on and such. My concern is looking at towns that have seen commercial development over the years, because the concept is bring commercial in, it brings revenue, drives taxes down, right? But from some of the studies that I'm seeing, I mean, some of these towns, they've seen tax increase of 50%, some as low as 10%. I'm seeing a lot of towns, they thought it was going to be good when they brought commercial in, and they ended up paying more in taxes. Just something to be mindful, and I'd like to see if the EDC has more in-depth studies about those situations when they're presenting them to the Board of Selectmen and such. I have to overall, with Ralph's point, it seems pretty straightforward and smart. Obviously, from what he presented, I would be in support of that, and I hope tomorrow people go and vote. No matter what, go vote, but hopefully vote no. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Jen?
Hi, it's Mike. Mike McCoo, Clover Springs Drive. Just a quick comment on the EDC rail conversation. I am very happy to hear that. I've been following rail for a long time, and this has been bubbling in the background. As Stephanie said, the line north of here is beautiful. And actually the Vermonter is still in service from Massachusetts up through the Connecticut River corridor. So there is a lot of active rail sort of adjacent to this section that we're talking about. And I think it's a great opportunity. So I look forward to hearing more about that. I specifically more wanted to speak on the idea of the phase-in for the assessments. I think it's a very interesting conversation, but like anything else the government offers you, they also, have complications, and there's always another side to it. So I think careful research is the key here. For example, if you use the phased-in approach, it changes the educational cost share calculations for the school reimbursements, and that potentially has either a positive or negative effect, which needs to be understood. And it typically has a negative impact on veterans benefits in the taxation, like veterans tax exemptions and stuff, because the delay of phasing in the increase in valuation has a dampening effect or a negative effect on the formula for veterans tax exemptions, I guess is, and I may not get that wording exactly right. My point is that careful research is the key, because every government program seems to have its also you get this if you want that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. John Tehan.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
John,
Can you hear me?
just barely.
I'll try to speak up. Can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can hear you a little bit better.
Okay. Just wanted to echo what other folks were saying about the rail. Peter, thank you for sharing that info with me. I'm really excited about it too. I think it's a great idea and something we should definitely support. I also am hesitant about Ralph's plan to phase in the valuation. It seems like we're just robbing Peter to pay Paul when we're looking at things like that. We phase in the valuation over 4 years, and then we have to do another revaluation. Are we going to just revalue everybody's property every year from here on out? I don't know that really makes sense.
Thank you, John. Stephanie again?
Yeah, I have to say, I'm troubled by, Matt's comments about the vote tomorrow. I think it's, first of all, it does come across as partisan, especially when there have been there's a vote no tent at the transfer station all weekend, and Matt was there, and a state Republican party member was there, or regional party member was there who helps with campaigns, and the BOF chair was there. This is their Republican majorities on both the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance. It just if anyone owns this budget, it's the Republicans on these boards, and this is really distressing to see that you're suggesting to voters how they should vote by declaring what your personal view is on it, if indeed it's nonpartisan. And I'm not seeing that it is by using your position and your voice at a public meeting like this to urge negativity at the polls tomorrow. So I'm really troubled by that, and I have to say that, even though I'm very happy about some of the business you all conducted tonight and some of the other news we're hearing.
Thank you, Stephanie. Anybody else? Seeing no other hands, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Do you second?
Oh, yeah,
He's
second.
adjourning.
I'll second.
No discussion on this matter, so all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.